Lorna Shore's Pain Remains trilogy is a 20-minute work of art hidden behind the scary mask of deathcore. If you take a glance at the YouTube comments of any of these tracks, you don't just see metalheads, you see people from all walks of life bonding over the human experiences of loss and grief. If you've not experienced this kind of grief yourself, this is the closest you will get. It covers everything from denial at a hospital bedside to burning it all down in anger and depression. The saddest part is, the majority of people will dismiss it the second they hear a breakdown. Today, I want to strip away the scary front and let you in on the world of this masterpiece and its underlying tragedy. Hopefully by the end of this I can convince you to give it a try, and maybe even convince you that the brutality of deathcore doesn't cover the art, it is the art. Welcome to the Alternative Breakdown. We enter the opening track of this trilogy to the sound of heavy rain, which is accompanied by some synth with string-like texture to set the initial mood. It feels like a film score, and you know you're about to go on a journey. Slowly we start getting introduced to the instruments one by one. It begins with a melancholic piano melody bringing in a haunting vibe to the track. This is followed up 30 seconds later with the first of the guitars, coming through with a warm, clean tone. This guitar starts as nothing more than an echo in the background. As it progresses, the clean tone comes further forward and we get our first distorted tone chugging in the background, with that clean tone still there but now over the top. Gradually this distorted tone comes further and further forward in the mix until we make it to 1:30 seconds into the song, where it all comes to a head. The drums kick in and we really get into this song. Now this may seem like a very long, drawn out way to break down the introduction to the song, but for me, this introduction is incredibly important, as this 1:30 sets the tone for the 20-minute trilogy perfectly. It built slowly and it allowed you to appreciate each individual aspect of the music in its own right. Most importantly though, it gets you into the emotional headspace of the character whose journey we are about to follow. That comment might not make much sense right now, but I promise you if you stick with me, it will all add up. This is where the lyrics kick in, and unfortunately where a lot of people will get lost. But this is for me where Will Ramos really gets to flex both his vocal muscles and his songwriting muscles. Captivate me, become my escape, I can't look away, you are my everything. So we had our introduction musically, but this is our introduction lyrically. And it's honestly a perfect short summary of the entire trilogy if I'm honest. If you haven't been able to tell already, the Pain Remains trilogy is a story about loss. The music video focuses on a man losing his wife, and we will reference it further as we get through this. At the end, I'll give some alternative ways that people have experienced this song from what I've heard, so be sure to stick around for that. If the past is just dust, then the future could be our doom. If all we have is now, this eternity, ignite my satisfaction, engulf me. Here in the first verse, we get a little background in the relationship between the two characters in this story. They are aware of each other's histories, but because of the honesty and transparency, they're free to move on from these past demons and build the future of their dreams together. So far, this is sounding like a very healthy relationship, full of passion, love, and lust. There is a beautiful raw desire which screams of either being the early days of a relationship or a long-term relationship in which that initial desire never faded. That right there is true love. We're dancing like flames flickering in the night. We sway in time with the wind before melting away. For me, this is an incredible metaphor of a candle. You watch the flame dance beautifully in the wind but are also slowly watching the wax melt away. This is comparable to life. Beautiful but finite. Unfortunately, that's something that's all too familiar to a lot of people out there. You're far from my reach but not far out of sight. You know the way to my heart, but you just play the strings again. This is the first time since the intro we were alluded to the fact that the main character's partner is not physically with him. He can see her in dreams and memories but cannot touch her because she is not real. He can, however, control them. It's as if this is one big lucid dream. She still exists in that magical world inside his mind. Instead of being able to feel her love like he used to though, now all he knows is the pain of missing her. Captivate. Hypnotised by the fire in her eyes. You took me by surprise and then you disappeared in the blink of an eye. The desire and love that I mentioned earlier is now confirmed to be that of an early blossoming relationship. It snuck up on him, but it also ended far too soon. Pull me into the pyre, engulf me in flames, captivate me, eidolon gravity magnetic, pull me towards my ecstasy. This guy is clearly deeply in love. He wants to experience everything with her. Pleasure, pain, and everything in between. The most interesting word down here for me is eidolon. I'm not even going to pretend with you, I had to Google this one. But eidolon is a spectral image or spirit, usually of somebody who is no longer with us. This is quite conflicting given he's speaking of her pulling him towards his happiness and her existence almost consuming him, yet she isn't actually physically existing anymore. This leads us into another repetition of the chorus as we head into a brief post-chorus. Flicker like shadows dancing beyond the flames. All he has left are memories. There's no intricate details, only the key parts that he remembers. He still sees her in everything though, even though she's no longer with us. Enchanting, mesmerised, take what is left of my life, a wrinkle in time, where do you go? He's still captivated by her and he wants to follow her to wherever she is. The issue is, he doesn't know where she's gone. The trilogy covers all 5 stages of grief, and for me, this is still at denial, but it's getting closer to anger. We're given a moment to process everything we've had so far as we get our first instrumental break. The energy and emotion doesn't drop one bit though, as the rip-roaring guitar soars through and keeps us right in it. At the end of this breakdown, it all comes to a halt as the music dies down to just a synth, and we get our only clean vocals of the entire trilogy. A wrinkle in time, take what is left of my life. Before you go, show me what it's like to finally know. Will almost whispers this part. He's clearly thinking back to the moments right before her passing. This is showcased perfectly in the music video where the man is by his partner's bedside as she looks very ill and is close to passing. What follows this has brought many a full-grown adult to tears, including myself at times. The face behind the silhouette, and this world I made to be infinite. But within the expanse, I finally see a world without you isn't meant for me. The first time I really heard this in context, it killed me, honestly. It's probably the most romantic lyrics I've ever heard, and it comes from a death metal song. He built this idea of a future around her with so many plans and opportunities just to have it all ripped away too early. In his new clarity, he only has one conclusion: life without her isn't worth it. Just in case this isn't sweet enough already, Will has actually been known to occasionally change the lyrics in live performances to include his partner's name. At another concert just recently there, he sang, "A world without Eve isn't meant for me. My girlfriend loves this trilogy and has seen that video. How on earth am I meant to compete with that? I'm just a wee guy from Scotland chatting to myself in a room, meanwhile Will is out there confessing his love mid-breakdown." So sweet though. Let's get back into the track, shall we? This is followed up by the music kicking back in heavier once again as we get into the outro. Where do you go when I close my eyes? What do you see looking back at me? He's still looking for his lover every day and is confused when he wakes up in the morning and she's not there. He has lost all sense of his identity and is asking his lover who he even is now. It's sad, but not surprising. He truly loved this woman with all his heart. Am I just a ghost just like you? Caught between the seams of 2 intertwining melodies. He's still talking to her and looking for answers even though she isn't there. He's stuck in between life and death, physically alive, but his heart and soul is with her in the afterlife. After this song comes to an abrupt halt, but an end isn't always peaceful, especially in the manner that this one ended. It does however transition perfectly into part 2. We've not even reached anger yet, so we still got a lot of grief to get through. You could even say the final line itself is caught between 2 songs. It's so well written and it only gets deeper from here. Before we dive into the next track, if you could take 2 seconds to hit the like button and subscribe, it would mean the world. I'm on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers and we are getting so close now, so I'd love to have you along for the ride. The fried scream from the very end of Dancing Like Flames continues on with a driving guitar in the background. Lorna Shore decides to step it up a gear with the beginning of the lyrics on this track as he just screams out twice, "I'll disappear." This is clearly how he's feeling after his loss, but this is all just a precursor to what's to come. If the last track was denial, we're about to get a whole load of anger with a sprinkle of bargaining. It's like the world I knew keeps passing, unlike the void I've become. This is a very common phenomenon which is common amongst those who've experienced loss. The world keeps going on around them while he is frozen in time, with no idea what to do with himself. Picking up pieces left from another life, this fleeting memory is everything you left behind. The man begins to try and salvage what is left of his former life. He quickly realises that memories is all he has now, and everything that was theirs is now just attached to a memory. I'm just a whisper, just a spectre, locked away in time. This purgatory is eating away at my mind. He's still so lost without her, he feels like half the person he was before. All this while he's still frozen as the world moves on, and he is just trapped in his own head, in the world where she is still with him. This leads us into the refrain where the man's mental state starts deteriorating rapidly. Left to wander, left to dissipate. Without you I will never be the same. From where he is right now, it feels like he will spend the rest of his life aimlessly floating through, without a sense of purpose. He can never be that man he was with her again. He died with her, left to confide in security. When you disappeared, you took a part of me. This summarises the last few lines perfectly. There's a massive hole in this man's life where she used to be, and he has no clue what he is without her. Not sure if you've ever felt like you don't know yourself at all before, but take it from me, if you get there, it's terrifying. I see you over and over, far beyond me. I'm drifting away. Every time he makes it to his dreamscape, he sees her. The issue is, every time he visits, she's out of reach, and by more and more every single time. This is the memory losing some strength. Not entirely, but just a little. Even inside a dream, this world has no meaning. This brief pre-chorus is incredibly powerful, both lyrically and in how it's performed. It's simple, but effective. Even in this dreamscape he travels to, he doesn't have any purpose. He just wants to be fully with her, which is not possible here or in the dreamscape. And after all that I've done, after all of my pain, after all that I've become, will I disappear? Disappear. The chorus opens hitting hard. After everything he's been through, he's terrified he's just going to disappear and become nothing. This will definitely happen if he keeps living in his dreamscape while the world passes him by. Something has to change. Like a ghost in the breeze, like fading memories, like the world you left was only just a dream. Even though the world he visits her in is his dreamscape, he's so hell-bent on convincing himself it's the opposite. In reality, all that's left are memories, and they come and go. He needs to get out into the real world, otherwise he'll be gone for good. So I'll disappear. I'll disappear. I'll disappear. It seems as though he is resigned to his fate here. He's completely gone. Just in case this chorus wasn't enough, the post-chorus really hammers it home. It's like the world I knew keeps passing, unlike the void that I've become. The world keeps moving and he stays still. He's paralysed by his loss, and you can't even blame the man. I'm fortunate enough to have not gone through proper grief myself yet, but from what I've heard, my therapist will be in for a rough session that week. Letting go of perfection, another lie. This wretched melody is everything you left to die. The world to this man is nowhere near as beautiful as it once was, and it never will be again. He's still not ready to accept this new world though. I'm just a vacuum, just a fragment, an echo in time. This purgatory is eating away at everything. This is an interesting evolution from the first track. Before, he was full of her memory, whereas now it is an empty space. I genuinely had no idea you could describe being lost in this many different ways. If I keep saying it, I'll get repetitive. But the way Will is constantly finding new ways of saying it is just making it gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. This leads us into their frame once again, but this time it's a little different. Left to suffer, left without your place. Without you, I will never be the same. This finally seems like the first signs of acceptance. At least at this point, he is acknowledging that she isn't with him anymore. Is he finally ready to let go of the dreamscape? Let me see you one more time. When you disappeared, you took a part of me. Here we have the clearest example of bargaining you will ever see. He just wants to be with her one final time. To feel complete one final time. The refrain closes out by repeating, I see you over and over. Far beyond me, I'm drifting away. This takes us into another repetition of the pre-chorus and chorus before the music cuts, and we are treated to another powerhouse of a bridge. And after all that I've done, after all of my pain, this fucking world disintegrates. I'll disappear. At this point, I can't even say Will is singing this anymore. He's as emotionally invested in it as all of us are, and every ounce of feeling that he has explodes in that final I'll disappear. The way this sounds with only the synth in the background and the incredible harsh vocal being the centre of attention just makes this everything. After everything he's been through, all of his suffering, his world still falls apart. Nothing can save him. She is gone. The music somehow finds another gear for the final grand chorus, before the instruments cut. A synth gently comes in with a violin joining it shortly after until it abruptly comes to a halt. It's time to see this trilogy out. The beautiful violin continues into this final part. The music may be more low-key and quieter right now, but at this point it isn't even a false sense of security. You know where it's going, it's just a matter of when. About 30 seconds in, the violins are joined by more orchestral elements, building to a more grand sound by the second. Very similar to Dancing Like Flames. Around a minute into this piece, the percussion elements are introduced, taking it up to another level, before a choir joins in with some haunting sounds. I'm not sure if this is gibberish or Latin, you can't discern it too clearly. What I do know is that even before a single note of metal music has been played, you know fine well this is about to be a massive track sound-wise. It is already. 15 seconds later, out of nowhere, the sound goes from 0 to 1,000 pace-wise, as Lorna kick this track into gear. In total, this intro was another minute and 30 seconds long one, but the way they constructed it just didn't feel like it at all. As soon as the metal instrumental kicks in, the opening lyrics of it join this track. Cursed by this apparition destined to take its place. A ceaseless existence born of my dream state. He's still being haunted by this dreamscape which he's still alive in. He doesn't see a way out of it either, as he feels like it is destiny. Combine this with still not having any purpose in life since, and we're fully into the depression stage of grief. Manifested and pressed into sand, you've long been cemented. Distracted, impacted by the weight of this world. The world weighs heavy on our main character these days. For me, the first line is talking of the woman being cremated and some sort of tombstone or sculpture has been made in her memory afterwards. If this is everything when I don't want to cut the swathe. Let the flames rise and bury me within this fog. Cutting the swathe is an interesting idiom as it has two very different meanings. The man is either saying he doesn't want to make a noticeable impression, or the more likely option is that he doesn't want to cause widespread destruction and damage. He doesn't want to destroy the dreamscape as this is the only place that she still exists in. An echo, a murmur, a broken melody. I let go of my life but you were just a dream. He'd given up on real life and gone all in on this dreamscape just to realise that she wasn't even real there and he will never find any purpose in that world. I throw myself into the fire and burn away, ridding this flesh of burden and pray I suffocate. This pre-chorus is where the anger and depression combine as he turns it on himself. He just wants to throw himself into a fire and cease to exist in this mortal plane anymore. It's brutal but a very real stage of grief. I'll salt the earth in a crimson blaze. The world will burn in my fall from grace. He might not want to destroy his dreamscape, but he is more than happy to destroy the real world, as it has nothing for him. He's ready to watch the world burn, and he's ready to go with it. Some people also see this as a relapse in a late stage of addiction, but we'll come back round to this later. Witness the death of God, hear the devil's choir, as I leave the stage in a sea of fire. He doesn't just want to burn the earth, he wants to take the heavens down with it. If there is only one place to go, he is guaranteed to be reunited with her in hell. The fire is a perfect metaphor for hell as well, confirming it all and seeing the chorus out in an incredible spectacle. If this is all I am, then what's the point of pacing life? Everything that I made became a waste of time. He's back questioning his purpose again, as everything he was doing in life was bargaining for spending it with his lover. Now that she's gone, he's not only questioning his current purpose, but what his purpose even was when they were together. Expressive, depressive, I'm caught up in a lie. Decisive, enticing, I'd rather fucking die. At this point, he's entirely lost in life, to the point where he would rather just die and be done with it all. This is him at his lowest point. The biggest question is, can he bounce back up from it? Or is this where he meets his end? This takes us into another repetition of the pre-chorus and the chorus before we get into the bridge of this track. I'll damn this world to a sea of flames. Forsake the ground and let it bury me. He's back at wanting to burn it all down, but the context of that is about to change in the next line. You were nothing but a shackle, now I can breathe. Let the fire rain down and bury me. Now he's looking at the physical memories he has left of her. He's realising that holding on to everything was meaning he can't truly move on. Bury me in a sea of flames. Forsake the ground and let it bury me. He's still desperate to burn it all down and not exist anymore, but after what we've just heard, this changes a little for me. Sure, he could mean this very literally, but what if he's actually talking about the old him and his previous life? What if the only memories he needs are in his head, and the only way he can reach acceptance is to burn the rest of it down? To be truly free, he has to let her die, and that includes the version of her living in his dreamscape. Let the fire rain down and damn this world. He's now ready to say goodbye to the dreamscape and live in the real world. And right as he comes to this realisation, it's time for the heaviest breakdown in this entire trilogy. Fuck this existence. Bring me back to where it all began in the fall. Wake me up before I lose it all. It's really hit home for him now, how close he is to losing everything in the real world because of this dreamscape, and he's ready to wake up. This transitions straight into a final repetition of the chorus before the music cuts out, and all we're left with is that haunting melody that began the entire trilogy. We may have heard the chorus for the final time, but this track is far from done. The music builds exactly as it did before, but when the drums kick in, it's time for our grand finale. This is my epilogue, my soliloquy. Take this broken melody straight to the grave. The man has his moment of power and strength here. It's his time to talk. He's ready to accept his loss and start figuring out what's next in his life. He still has a lot of emotions pent up though, and they need to be let out. Will encapsulates this as he screams out in pure emotion. I know it's technically incredible, but nobody is looking for that here. This is all about how it feels. You even hear what sounds like a faint sniffle as he gasps for air to really let every last drop of emotion out before that scream. The massive instrumental that comes with it is perfect as well. It's far from the heaviest part of this track, but it's the biggest sound of the lot. You've got the orchestra layering over the metal breakdown. It's just beautiful to hear. Dancing like flames after all that I've done. I'll salt the earth and disappear in a sea of fire. This is his final message, and it's a weirdly poetic one. It contains a song title of each of the three parts of the trilogy and perfectly summarises where he is now. He's ready to live again. After burning the rest of it all down, he's finally found acceptance. We might be done deep diving on the tracks, but there's still a few things to cover on this one yet. First up, we have the tragic music video I mentioned earlier on. If you haven't seen it yourself yet, then please do go watch it. It's a perfectly put together short film on grief. We see the main protagonist go through all of the stages of grief, and even coming oh so close to ending his own life. I don't want to spoil too much of it, as I feel it's better to experience it yourself. But now that you fully know what's being sang about, there's another layer to this for you. Now on to the fun part, alternate theories. The main interpretation is right in front of your eyes and really easy to see, especially if you add in the music video. But there are a few more out there. Some have seen this as a religious fall from grace, as one loses touch with their higher power. Others have seen this as a battle of addiction, as the addiction tries to rip everything he has away from him. One final interesting one I saw was somebody saying it was grieving a relationship that never happened. A massive what if. The most important thing for me is, like all masterpieces, these tracks have enough nuance left that you can attach your own life experiences to it and have it impact you in your own special way. This trilogy has only one promise: you will feel it, and you will feel it a lot. That is all for the rollercoaster of emotions that is the Pain Remains trilogy, but don't run away just yet though. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, then please do subscribe to the channel and join us on our mission to hit 1,000 subscribers. If you've liked this video, then you will love the videos I've done breaking down the lore of Sleep Token. I'll leave that playlist on screen for you now. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, goodbye.